the national life of Gambia.
A typical scene of psychological and emotional pain reflecting on the faces of mourners, but in a well-delivered homily reflection, Right Reverend Dr. Victor Atabafo hammers home a message of hope to the faithful. We are humans, and so are we limited. Therefore, the Christian who dies and the believer who lives are assured of a happy reunion in the hereafter, the man of God said.
We have seasons. That is why we have winter, we have summer, we have spring, we have autumn. We have different times that we do different things. But believe it or not, death has no season. It can come to anyone at any time.
The vocal music rendered by perhaps the most principal singers of the Anglican diocese and a sister choir Batilinger could not have been a better way of bidding final farewell to the fallen religious hero. The high-profile government delegation led by Honorable Bala Gaba Jahumpa and that of the Supreme Islamic Council led by Imam Savage perhaps summarizes the life of a man who occupies every waking moment of his people.
To our dear brother, husband, and father in God, Telewa Johnson, you have made your mark, and we salute you. May the angels lead you to paradise. Solomon, may the choirs of angels welcome you and receive you into the holy city, Jerusalem.
We have come to celebrate the life of a great man of God, a man of many parts, whose life touched many lives, a man who faithfully served his generation to the end. Your Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Solomon Tilewa Ethelbert Willie Johnson. Your life can be compared in some parts with that of King David, who was a man of many parts, such as a shepherd, a warrior, a musician, a religious leader, and a king.
Solemnly it began, and solemnly it has ended as the funeral procession winded up at the stadium. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
Meantime, archbishops of the Anglican Church who attended the funeral service and interment of the late Reverend Dr. Solomon Telewa Ethelbert Willie Johnson this evening visited State House to return gratitude to the country's leadership for its stance on fostering peaceful coexistence among the different religions in the country. The delegation was received by the Secretary General, Minister responsible for Presidential Affairs and Civil Service, Honorable Mamadou Sabali.
For the church, but for the president and his own family and government. And we want to extend condolences on behalf of this family, the government, and people of the Gambia. On the late Bishop Johnson, as my colleague here has spoken here at length, he has served his God, but he has served also his country. We all see him as a father, especially us the young ones, because we have seen what he has done in this country, not only in terms of his role as a bishop, but also his civic duties, playing a very fundamental role in the political history of this country during some very trying times in the past 20 years. I think he has indelibly marked his name in the history of the Gambia, not only religious but also political and social. And we pray that Allah Almighty, the most beneficent, the most merciful, rewards him abundantly.
The Secretary General and Minister responsible for Presidential Affairs and the Civil Service there after meeting with Archbishops of the Anglican Church at the State House. The country's independence celebrations continue to dominate this week's coverage. After Banjul and the Kanifing municipality, this Saturday was the turn of the West Coast region, where celebrants marched past Governor Lamin Sane and several dignitaries who graced the historic event. As we hear in this report by Ibrahim Abalde, cultural groups and voluntary organizations spiced up the event with acrobatic display of talents.
Of celebrants from far and near, school children, voluntary organization and card-carrying members of the ruling APRC put up a strong presence in Somita village. This is Independence Day. Almost all the participants had been rehearsing their script all these weeks and had been told what to do on a day like this. The dignitaries had been ushered and had already settled down. Everyone waited in calm anticipation for the arrival of the governor of West Coast region, Alhaji Lamin Sane. Several cabinet ministers such as the Secretary General, Ministers of Presidential Affairs and Civil Service, Mamadou Sabali, and several others graced the event. National Assembly members, Sefolu, regional governors were not left out on this auspicious occasion. Independence is synonymous with hard work, dedication, patriotism, and responsibility. These were some of the main issues encapsulated in Governor Lamin Sane's speech. Seen as a mark of respect for the participants, Governor Lamin Sane stood while the security forces, school children, and voluntary organizations marched past him. He had earlier inspected a guard of honor mounted by the security forces. Governor Sane read from the prepared speech from the President of the Republic of the Gambia.
We must endeavor and be bold enough to take full control and responsibility for our own socio-economic advancement and that of our country. It is only in this spirit of living by one sweat and contributing to our country's development that we as a nation, working together with only the Almighty as our master and our religion as our way of life and governance, that we will turn this great country into the economic superpower that we yearn for in a shorter period of time than anticipated.
The governor continued. This time around, he highlighted salient issues that could change attitudes and usher in development.
As we celebrate yet another independence anniversary in peace and harmony, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his rich blessings and also all citizens to continue to jealously guard and protect the peace and stability of the Gambia. On the eve of this year's independence anniversary, The Economist magazine has ranked the Gambia among the most stable countries in the world, and such a feat must never be taken for granted, but should propel all of us to stand firm in unity to safeguard and preserve it for posterity.
The rest of the program was spiced up by the famous Jola cultural group that has a penchant for stabbing themselves with sharp knives which do not usually harm them. Indeed, the West Coast region has joined Banjul KMC in celebrating Gambia at 49 in grand style. Ibrahim Abalde, GRTS News.
After braving hazardous conditions across 2 continents, the latest batch of Amsterdam-Dakar drivers has arrived in the Gambia. The team drove 18 vehicles to the country, which will be auctioned today, 23rd February 2014, and the proceeds will be invested in the provision of solar powers to rural communities in the Gambia. Uminjai reports.
Group of Amsterdam-Dakar challengers has finally arrived in Banjul after a 3-week-long journey from Amsterdam to the Gambia, driving through terrain across the difficult desert condition. These people described their journey as a very interesting one. They were welcomed on the smiling coast with a light reception. For the past 19 years, this organization has been providing funds to support projects, key among which is the Girls Education Project and Women Empowerment Initiative. Its recent support focuses on solar power supply to rural communities in the Gambia through partnership from the Jame Foundation for Peace.
The relationship has been really cordial. We have benefited a lot. From here up to Fatoto, there are a lot of projects ranging from women's vegetable garden, ranging for schools, school feeding program, and then health centers also.